Hello, welcome back. I am going to read an entry from a journal that I started in May 2024. So this is skipping a journal in between because this was my journal when I was in Italy. And then when I came home, I had a different journal, but that one is in my storage unit in the US. So this entry is from May 2024. Um, I realize my phone can be one of the biggest contributors to unhappiness. Waiting for a reply, comparing myself to others, even, are we dating the same guy, has led to paranoia that men are terrible. Never mind me rereading what I wrote. This dating is a big old distraction. What am I trying to distract myself from? Existentialism. Feeling like I am not living my full potential. I should be happy with my average life, but goodness, discontent has stirred up, and I don't know how to handle it without my dopamine fix. And I listed drinking, edibles, sex, male attention. I wonder what would happen if I paced myself while drinking. I didn't care about looking hot. I was celibate. Someone signed up for tutoring, which means I made more work for myself. This will be good side money and flexible work for summer. The person that I was dating at the time has taken a long time to text back, and paranoia and insecurity has struck, as if it has anything to do with me. And then I say, my dream is to have a partner that loves to travel and is enjoyable to travel with, someone open minded, someone that can lean into the joy in the present moment, an equal partner. Yeah, oh, I love journaling because to me it has been a cultivator of self-love. I like to read back to things. Um, and I always have this spot where I'm like, oh, past me. Um, but then there's these moments, reading this, and it's hard in a sense because there's this awareness there, um, and there's this naivety in the same vein. And now this is 2 years later from the and I had written this entry, and oh my goodness, if I could say that like I fixed these problems, I didn't. This actually kept kind of coming up. And I know for me, something that I was really battling with was this idea of romantic fixation and having to be abroad, be away from my partner, separating from my partner. And if you ever want to be single, I mean, Chiang Mai is a great city to move as an expat to be single. Just the dating pool isn't really the most ideal conditions, for a couple of things because it's very transient. And something that I've noticed from my own experience is I moved here, I was my dream to live abroad. So this was kind of an experience I wanted, but some people have moved here because they have really dissatisfaction with their countries or they have dissatisfaction with society in general. There's a lot of people who are from countries that are in war or, things of this. So it makes sense. Or people who, I guess, and maybe I fall into this camp because I was separated for a year before I came here, but just starting over and wanting to heal. And when I read this entry, I think about how I'm putting the external on, I'm putting the external, or like I'm wanting the external. I'm wanting this partner to make me feel whole. And this is part of the romantic fixation of thinking like, if I date someone, maybe then I'll feel whole. And, I kept bumping into, I would be like, have these instances of being single, and then I would go on dates. Um, and then it would be this whole loop where I would notice the person would be very enthusiastic in the beginning, and then we would have physical intimacy, but without very much emotional intimacy, which is what I was really craving. I think this is part of why I left my partnership. But now in hindsight, I think part of the reason why I left my partnership was I really needed to figure out myself. And yeah, and then it would turn into the cycle where they would be very avoidant and not message or be very inconsistent. And then I would feel anxious in a sense, and it was frustrating because I was like, I do so much work to be present, to be conscious, and here I am worrying about someone who I don't even know if I really care about texting me. And I don't do this to my friends. I don't do this to anyone else, this worry. And so I think for me, yeah, it's hard to see. And recently I was reading, I'll read this from the book. It's called Polishing the Mirror, and it's by Ram Dass. And he wrote something that I was like, oh, I wish I would have read this a while ago, but maybe I wouldn't have gotten the message because, sometimes we can hear things and um, it has to be at the right moment sometimes or with the right words. So, uh, let's see, where is it? Sorry, now I have to take time to find where it is. Um, oh wow. Well, I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it. Okay. No, I've got it. I think this is it. Oh, this is not. Okay. I'm just gonna. This is not typical video, I think, because most people on YouTube wouldn't make you wait to hear an entry. But oh well, it's basically a vlog. So, uh, hmm, okay. As a conscious being, you do all you can to live in your soul and to create a space for others to be in their soul too. But you do so without trying to change the existing karma. You don't need to change your karma, only your attachment to it. Attachment is what keeps you stuck in your limited reality. Your attachment, wishing your loved ones to be different than they are, keeps them the same. Just allow them to be the way they are and love them. Then they may change, but it's not up to you. Samuel Johnson said, "He who has so little knowledge of human nature as to seek happiness by changing anything but his own disposition will waste his life in fruitless efforts." This perfectly describes me, where I felt like I just kept meeting people who I wanted to make my projects. And even when I moved to Chiang Mai, I had this friend who had a lot of problems, I would say. They were breaking up with their ex. They were constantly messaging me voice memos. And I guess this was the right person for me at the time because I was like, oh, they have so many problems. I will fix them. And I had thought of myself as someone who had it figured out, which here's the deal, nobody does. And I don't think anyone can claim this. And even people who are enlightened or whatever, they probably wouldn't claim it because they would be so humble not to. Um, but that was my karma. And so, yeah, this time of my life of just meeting people, like the people I was dating was also a bit like my project, and I wasn't really fully accepting. And I thought I knew what I wanted. Like I thought I wanted to build with someone, and now 3 years later, I feel like I could actually say that that's what I actually want. But I needed to do all of this inner work. And it's still, I mean, it's lifelong work, this inner work, but I'm a lot farther than I was. Like I'm doing much better and not like, seeking someone to make me feel like I've arrived or I've settled. That is something that is just for me to do. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient. And we'll do another post tomorrow.